Hi, my name is Jorge Cuevas. I am 60 years old. I live in Ithaca, New York, in the United States. I've been suffering with hemorrhoids for at least half of my life. And as of 20 years ago, I have also been suffering with a fissure on and off. And 2.5 years ago, it got unbearable, the pain from the fissure, that a doctor recommended that I get a Botox injection. That way it'll relax the sphincter muscle so that it would promote healing by itself. Unfortunately, it created a fistula, which is obviously even worse. My local doctor recommended a specialist in Rochester, New York, very highly regarded surgeon, and he told me that he wants to schedule a time for him to go in to either insert a seton drain in case the fistula was too close to the sphincter muscle, or if it wasn't too close, then he would perform a fistulotomy, which is cutting it open, or as I say, laying it open, and then laying the tract open, the fistula tract, and then hopefully it would heal from that point on. So I scheduled this for sometime in April of 2018. So before the surgery, I continued to research other non-surgical approaches to fistulas, and there didn't seem to be many. All I kept finding were terrible stories of how one operation failed and led to a different operation that also failed, and it just was like a revolving door of surgeries. And of course that was concerning, and I didn't want that, even though my insurance company would pay for each operation. Who cares? I didn't want to have multiple failed surgeries. And then luckily I stumbled across a YouTube video from Norma Johnson McGregor, who I have to thank enormously. And luckily I saw one of her videos where she was talking about daily maintenance of your fistula, just cleaning it, because this was all new to me, and besides the pain, it was a very inconvenient way to live with stuff coming out. And so she had a variety of videos, or several videos, about maintenance and the experiences that she's had with the fistula. And I kept going back to it just to refresh my memory, and then I found another one of her updates where she said she was actually going to India for this treatment called Kshar sutra, and it was a non-surgical approach, which certainly sounded better to me. And she would post it online and let everybody know how it goes. So I certainly look forward to hearing and seeing more about her travels to India and this new approach, or actually it's not a new approach, it's been around for thousands of years, Kshar sutra. It's just that it's not performed anywhere else but in India, Nepal, and Pakistan. After each treatment, she posted a video about how it went, all the details, all the lovely details about her experience with Dr. Bapat and the Kshar sutra treatment, and how painful or not as painful, or the entire process. And it was very eye-opening. After completing her treatment, now she's fistula free. So she returned to Canada, and so many people had so many questions about this treatment that she decided to create a Facebook support group, Kshar Sutra for Fistulas. Luckily, the Facebook support group had many people who not only planned but actually did go and shared many videos and many details about what it's like to go to India, not just about the Kshar sutra treatment, but where to stay, where to eat, what not to eat, and it was very helpful. So I always appreciated everyone's help in the support group. There were two primary doctors that were being used through people in this support group, and Norma used Dr. Bapat. And Dr. Bapat only uses the Kshar sutra thread, the medicated thread, as opposed to a different doctor who also does a partial fistulotomy and uses the Kshar sutra thread. Well, of course, for me, I want the least invasive approach, so I just chose Dr. Bapat because he was recommended very highly by Norma. And he doesn't do any surgery, so that's the way I was going to go. So I contacted Dr. Bapat, and luckily he contacted me right back and said yes, that he could take care of me, and send him a picture of what it looks like, and I sent him a picture, and he again confirmed there should be no problem, and then we started to schedule. And I arrived there on April 1st, yes, April Fool's Day, okay. And I was there for 6 weeks. I returned on May 14th of 2018, Mother's Day. So it was a 6-week treatment, and it turns out that I had a 4-centimeter long fistula tract, and Dr. Bapat's approach is to insert a string, 1 per week, which would also equal 1 per centimeter. It would cut through, and all I had to do was maintain a vegetarian diet, not to go swimming, make sure I walk at least 2 miles a day. It wasn't hard to do. There were a few restrictions, but it wasn't anything that I couldn't live with. So my treatment was not as painful as I thought it was going to be. Yes, it was uncomfortable, but remember, I've been dealing with fissure and fistula pain, so comparatively the treatment actually only lasted 5 to 10 minutes at the very most, and I just laid on my back, and he inserted the string, and it wasn't really that painful. It hurt for a little bit, as expected, but honestly, it was less than the pain that I've been dealing with a fissure and a fistula. So I went there for 4 thread changes, and it was a total of 6 weeks before I came back. And Dr. Bapat was an amazing doctor. Thank you, Dr. Bapat. You are my healer, and you gave me my quality of life back. You also answered every single one of my questions. You actually, the time that we spent together just before the treatment and then immediately after the treatment in your office, you answered every single one of my questions, and I had many questions, and I've never had a doctor be so thorough and not rush me. And I know that you had some people out in the waiting room, but that was the kind of confidence that I needed. You always had this calming confidence that really made me relax and trust you, and I believe that anybody who is going to follow your instructions as a good patient and have all the questions answered, you're not going to have a problem. So I highly recommend Dr. Bapat. And certainly want to again thank Norma Johnson McGregor for starting the whole process of Kshar sutra traveling. You weren't the first, but you were the first to document it and let others know about it, and then also to start that wonderful Facebook support group, and everybody on that group as well who helped me. I'm certainly going to do my best to pay it forward, And I just want to thank everybody in India. And India was not a scary place because I luckily saw many videos before I went there, so I knew what to expect. And the people were very friendly. And I stayed at the Hyatt Pune, and it was the right place for me. You don't have to stay there. Obviously, there are many places to stay, but I met many very wonderful, nice people from India, and I was well taken care of. Thank you, Dr. Bapat.